Hello, class, and welcome to Quiz 4 Review, covering chapters 3, 4, and 18. This happens to be the review for your last quiz this semester. Let's get started. The female external genital structures are known as the vulva. The vulva consists of several structures. The mons veneris, also known as the mound of love, two sets of labia, the labia minora and majora, the clitoris, the vestibule, the introitus, urethral opening, hymen, and perineum. Okay. This form of exercise strengthens the pelvic floor. Oops. Those are Kegel exercises. For women, Benoit balls can do the trick. However, both sexes can intermittently disrupt their urine flow and for about 3 to 5 seconds and start back urinating again. And that will strengthen the area. Okay. When this small raised erogenous area is stimulated, it can trigger strong arousal and intense orgasm, finishing with a female ejaculate. We're talking about the Grafenberg or G-spot. Oh. Before I do this question, let me just share with you one bit of information about Grafenberg. Ernest Grafenberg was the gynecologist that discovered the area, the sensitive area in the female genitalia in around the 1940s. However, it wasn't until Dr. Beverly Whipple in the 1980s who did extensive research also on that area, decided to coin the term the G-spot rather than naming it after herself, paying homage to the early works of Ernest Grafenberg. So one last thing, it would have been named the Whipple tickle if the term or if the discovery was credited to Dr. Whipple. All right, moving on to our current slide. This cultural practice can cause severe bleeding, intense pain, infection, childbirth complications, and death. We are talking about female genital mutilation. The prevalence of female genital mutilation by country in the 4 countries below, Sierra Leone, Djibouti, Guinea, and Somalia, female genital mutilation is practiced, and nearly every girl or woman between the ages of 15 and 49 has been subjected to it in those countries. Many women are hesitant to perform this exam because they think of their genitals as part of their bodies that should not be touched. That is female genital self-exams. Christina has several of the listed risk factors. Age, she is over age 40. Mutations in the BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes. In her reproductive history, she has had no children. She has dense breasts. As far as a family history of it, her mom has had breast cancer. She began her menstrual cycle before age 12. Exposure to radiation, many of us have been exposed to radiation if we've had x-rays, but only some of us have actually been prescribed or taken the drug DES. DES caused many birth defects among children born in the 70s. Christina should schedule a blank and conduct regular breast self-exams at home. Mammography is the answer. Okay. Maria is scheduled for a hysterectomy. Her physician advises her that the surgical team will keep her ovaries intact to reduce her risk of developing blank following the surgery. That is breast cancer. The fringe-like projections at the end of each fallopian tube are called the fimbriae. The fimbriae sweep the unfertilized ovum along the fallopian tubes into the uterus for fertilization. Which male external reproductive structures, the foreskin, the glands, the shaft, or the root, contain the most nerve endings? That is the glands. Incidentally, the glands is a homologous structure to the clitoris, and the number of nerve endings that's in the glands of a man's penis is similar to the number of nerve endings in the clitoris. That's why it's so highly sensitive. Dan is scheduled for a vasectomy. The physician informs Dan that during the procedure, the blank will be cut, tied, and burned. We're talking about the vas deferens. The vas deferens is a sperm-carrying tube that begins at the testes and ends at the urethra. Sperm maturing in the epididymis also eventually drain into the vas deferens. This procedure should be performed after a hot shower, as early as an early detection of penile or testicular cancer. A small hard lump on the shaft or testicles may be an indicator of that something is wrong. So the answer is male genital self-exams. They should be performed, and you are your first line of, you know your body best and should be able to communicate those things to your doctor. Okay. The blank produces 70% of semen in an ejaculate. That is the seminal vesicle. The blank is located at the base of the bladder and secretes about 30% of the seminal fluid released during ejaculation. This is the prostate gland. This layer of connective tissue is a muscle that regulates the internal temperature of the scrotum. We're talking about the tunica dartos. In your studies, you may also see the tunica dartos referred to as dartos fascia, or just simply the word dartos. So you would know that they're talking about what they're talking about and what that function is. The vas deferens, epididymis, seminiferous tubules, and the premasteric muscle are all structures belonging to the testes. The testes are small glands adjacent to the vas deferens terminals, and they secrete an alkaline fluid that assists sperm's motility. So yes, sperm motility. All right. Edward becomes intensely aroused, anticipating intimacy with his college sweetheart. When they embrace, clear droplets are released from the glands of his penis that contain active sperm. Which male reproductive structures releases this fluid? That would be the Cowper's gland. The Cowper's gland is a pea-sized gland that's located alongside the urethra, and it also secretes an alkaline fluid, but during sexual arousal. The accumulation of blood in the three sponge-like tissues, one being the corpus spongiosum, and two are the corpora cavernosa, more commonly known as the corpus cavernosum, collectively is responsible for male erection. Did you know that the capacity for erections is present at birth for males? During the emission phase, fluid pools in the urethral bulb, triggering the point of no return. The point of no return is also referred to as ejaculatory inevitability. Gotta slow down, Donna, gotta slow down. Amateur BDSM, fetish, hardcore, softcore, LGBT, and transgender are categories associated with pornography. Pornography is sexually explicit materials intended to cause sexual arousal. They may be in written form, they may be photographs, they may be videos, or it could be spoken. Depictions of sexuality produced primarily by women that that display mutuality, respect, affection, and balance of power. We're talking about erotica. The main reason people become blank is the inability to find a job paying a living wage. That would be sex worker. People of all ages, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, and so on, are lured into sex work. Sometimes it is not the money that they're going after. They might just suffer from low confidence and low self-esteem. But in any case, when it comes to your test, the main reason people become sex workers is the inability to find a job paying a living wage. Anthony Comstock was busy. The Comstock Act of 1873 was the first U.S. law prohibiting the mailing of blank materials, birth control devices, and birth control information. That would be obscene. Let me share with you a little bit about materials that are deemed as obscene. When those materials are produced without serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value, if the materials are patently offensive to contemporary community standards. Our standards today are much different than they were in the late 1800s. And finally, the theme of those materials must appeal to the salacious interests in sex for that person. So they're probably more in the minority in their sex interest than being one of the majority. Okay. Massage parlors are sometimes a makeshift storefront for a quick service blank. That would be brothel. Even though it's one of the oldest professions, prostitution is illegal throughout the United States, except for a few counties located in Nevada.